Here I have two very special pickup trucks. They're the best-selling, most popular pickups in their respective segments. On this side is the new 2023 Toyota Tacoma, and over here I have the Ford Maverick that's really created its own compact pickup segment. And here I have two of the most off-road worthy versions of each, the TRD Pro and the Tremor Maverick. But here's a question. If you're shopping for a smaller pickup truck, which one is best for you? Well, in this video, let me show you everything about these two, and you can decide. By the way, there's a huge price difference that I'll let you know in the end. Normally, I would look at the Tacoma and say, oh, that's a pretty small pickup. And then I put this next to it. The Maverick, you can just visually see, is way, way smaller. I mean, the wheelbase is not that much different, but the height of it and just the compact proportions of the Maverick are very evident. And for 2023, this, I think, very interesting new off-road edition, the Tremor, is available, which is why I'm showing it to you right now.
Well, it's almost time to sell our Ford Bronco, and let me show you this really cool new car service that'll help you get more money when it comes to selling your used car. Clearly, Blaze here is sad to see the Bronco go, but let me tell you about Carmigo, which is a fantastic new selling service which makes it quick and easy to sell your car. Carmigo gets you multiple offers in one business day from their nationwide network of dealerships looking to buy relatively new, lower mileage used cars and trucks right now. Listing your vehicle on the Carmigo marketplace takes less than 15 minutes. You can even do it on your phone, so you can get maximum convenience as well as the benefit of multiple offers. It's always free to list on Carmigo, and you're not required to sell your vehicle unless a buyer meets or beats your minimum price. To sell your car on Carmigo, there's typically a $350 sell fee. However, TFL viewers save $50. And if you want that discount, check out the link in our description below. Head over to carmigo.io to set up your free vehicle profile in minutes and find out how fast and painless selling your car can be.
If you want an all-wheel drive or a four-wheel drive Ford Maverick, you have to choose this power plant, at least right now for 2023. It's a 2-liter turbocharged engine. And yes, they have a hybrid power plant in the Maverick, but that's only front-wheel drive, two-wheel drive edition. This is quite powerful though. 250 horsepower, 270 pound-feet of torque. It's made it to a traditional 8-speed automatic transmission. And the fuel efficiency ratings by the EPA are 22 city, 29 highway, and 25 combined. While the avalanche gray color on that Maverick is a bit stealthy, there's nothing subtle about this color, the solar octane on this Tacoma. And underneath this hood is an engine they've had for a while. It's a 3.5-liter, naturally aspirated, no turbos, V6, dual injection system, direct and port injection. It's made it to 6-speed automatic, not an 8-speed or a 10. And efficiency is a bit worse than in the Maverick, at least as far as the rating is concerned. It's rated at 18 city, 22 highway, and 20 combined. So if you want a little bit more efficiency, you gotta go smaller in size. All right, so we got that out of the way, but are they truly useful pickup trucks? They do have beds, so I wanted to show you kind of some of the measurements here. So the Maverick bed to the tailgate here is just under 55 inches, which is about 4.5 feet. And to the tailgate, that's about 79 inches or almost 80 inches, which is, over 6.5 feet. Pretty usable. The Maverick bed between the wheel wells is just 42.5 inches right there. So what if you want to carry a 4x8 sheet of plywood? Aha! The Maverick tailgate can be put into this mid-gate position. So you can put a sheet of material, it'll go over the wheel wells, it'll go over here, and then you can tie it down using these additional tie downs on the tailgate. So, and the Maverick has, this one, has just under 1,200 pounds of payload. So I would say pretty usable utility as far as the bed and payload. All right, let's check out the venerable Tacoma. First of all, this TRD Pro does have a fancier tailgate that's comes down nice and easy. The floor of the bed, by the way, the Tacoma has been using a composite bed structure versus steel or aluminum for a very long time. And here it's 5 feet, like pretty standard for a crew cab, mid-size truck. To the end of the tailgate, it's about 81 inches here. So the Maverick bed is a little bit deeper because we were near 80 inches there. So still pretty good. This is 7 feet here. Between the wheel wells, it's actually very similar to where the Maverick is. So that's just over 42 inches, 42 and a half. So in theory, you could put some plywood over the wheel wells, but the Tacoma doesn't have the fancy mid-gate position. So you have to come up with another solution, maybe put a block of wood here so you can kind of even out the load and tie it down properly. It does have quite a few tie downs here near the floor of the bed and also the tie down rail on the top. So quite a bit of tying down, but this top of the line off-road TRD Pro, just under 1,000 pounds of payload, which is less than that Maverick. Interior comfort is very important to all of us, so I wanted to show it to you. Here I'm sitting down inside the Maverick trimmer. I'm almost 6'3", so I'm a fairly tall dude. My seat is adjusted just about how I like it. And take a look. I have pretty much a little bit more of space above my head, so I don't feel cramped at all. My knees are a little bit bent, which is kind of what I like. And actually, other than the seat being maybe a little bit not supportive underneath the entire leg, and it's not super wide as far as the seat itself, but I really like this driving position. I'm pretty comfy. This is a Lariat, so it means it also has a push-button start. Some of the materials around this truck are a little bit, well, they're not really premium feeling or looking. The screen is a little bit odd because it's a little bit tilted this way towards me. I know it's to kind of prevent glare, but it feels a little bit weird, like I'm looking down onto it. But in general, this particular truck doesn't have every option. I'll tell you the price at the end of this video. So you have kind of manual controls. I like that it's separate down here. And of course, 8-speed controller for the transmission, my parking brake, and a plethora of different modes and selectors. This is my traction control, my center, four-wheel drive locker, rear locker, which is clutch based, which is cool, drive modes, the trail control system for slow speed off-roading, and of course auto hold for not rolling back on hills. All right, let me try the Tacoma. Of course, this generation of the Tacoma has been around for about 6 to 7 years, so I'm pretty familiar with it. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's not my favorite driver position. So here's a couple of examples. So my legroom is okay, but my knees are a little bit taller because in the Tacoma, the floor is a little bit higher because they prioritized also the ground clearance. The steering wheel doesn't have a ton of adjustment. It's maybe about an inch in both directions, up and down and in and out. So I wish there was a little bit more adjustment maybe so I can get my legs a little bit better fit. But the rest of it is actually traditional, and I love the layout of the controls. Of course, my climate system. Let me fire this up. I love the traditional shifter for the 6-speed. I love the traditional parking brake. And I think everything else is really good. I just don't quite like the seat orientation in this truck. And also my headroom. I mean, with the sunroof, I have some space, but in this section, my head is basically almost touching. So it depends on how I'm sitting, but I don't feel like I have as much headroom here as I would in the Maverick. I think the center infotainment screen is just about the right size. It's an older version. It's a little bit dated, but it's still nice and simple. No glare. I haven't experienced a lot of trouble with this system. So I think it's kind of a little bit older design, but still a very solid control system. The Tacoma has a lot of its off-road mode and controls on the ceiling, which is okay. I almost feel like a airplane pilot. My rear locker, then my cruise control system, my drive modes, and also the speed selector and the mode selector knob. So I think this is pretty cool, but you have to remember, if you've never been in Tacoma before and you get in, you might be searching for that locker button. Well, just look up. Okay, let's check out the rear seat of the Maverick. Do I fit behind myself? Just barely. Look, there's a cutout in this front seat. My knees are still touching a little bit. But hey, you know what? I do have a little bit of headroom. The back of the seat is not totally upright, so I don't feel like I'm sitting forward. It's not too bad. I mean, the third person here has very limited space, so that'll be kind of a pain. The headrests are pretty nice. Let me show you underneath the seat really quick, because this is the storage area. So this makes the Maverick a little bit more traditional, like you would expect with any pickup truck. With a little bit of storage, you can put different accessories, different boxes, different holders throughout this area using this hook system. It's not too bad for a little tiny compact pickup. Let's check out the rear accommodation of the Tacoma. All right, getting in. Ooh, you know what? I haven't moved the front seat. The ceiling is scalloped, but my knees, you know what, I feel like once again, the floor is a little bit taller. My knees are a little bit higher, so they're hitting. And my head is pretty much wedged into the indentation. The seat back is at a good angle. I just don't have as much headroom. Here, there's a decent amount of space, maybe a little bit more than in the Maverick. And then looking at the storage, it flips actually forward. And then you have these little knobs to reveal the storage. So first, I like the 60-40 split, but what I don't like is that the Maverick had more space. So the Maverick maybe is prioritizing passengers a little bit more over off-road capability and ground clearance, whereas Tacoma is prioritizing kind of its chassis and truck bones and frame, and off-road capability a little bit higher. So that's my take. Let's take a look at the off-road specs. With the Maverick Tremor, you get actually a brand new bumper design in the front. You still have the tow hook recovery point. It's painted, of course. And then because this is scalloped and they redesigned it for the Tremor specifically, you have just over 30 degrees of approach. So that's really good for any mid-size or compact pickup for that matter. And then the tire they chose, actually this is available also on some of the other Mavericks, like the FX4s and some others. It's a Wild Peak AT 83W, which is actually pretty good all-around all-terrain tire with all-weather performance. I mean, it's not a snow tire, but it does have a snowflake rating. It's not huge, and this truck has 9.4 inches of ground clearance, which is okay. It has 4-tune suspension, but it's not a name brand shock system like Fox or King or DSSV or anything like that. It's a little bit more simple, but special for the Tremor. You guys probably know this by heart already because the Tacoma sells over 240,000 trucks a year, but the TRD Pro has really incredible approach angle. On paper, it's 36.4 according to Toyota. So you can see the front tire is way out open. It's really accessible. It's really great for climbing over obstacles. They have a really beefy skid plate. The Maverick Tremor also has a small skid plate underneath, but this is really, really strong. Technically on paper, the Pro Tacoma has the same 9.4 inches of ground clearance as in the Maverick. And here's what I'll do. I'll do a separate off-road comparison of both of these trucks. So come back to TFL Off-Road in just a few days. And then you will see them actually in the mud at Tumbleweed. Well, I hope I can find some mud. And in the rocks. And we'll see exactly how they measure up to each other. But at least on paper, this approach angle is better. More protection. And bigger tires. Many manufacturers are switching to these. This is the Goodyear Wrangler Territory AT in this case. The Territory tire comes in several flavors. There's also the MT. But the AT with Kevlar is what's on this Taco. I think it's a really decent, good, all-around tire. How does it compare to that Wild Peak? Well, I think they're quite similar in performance, except this one is not snowflake rated. And it's a larger diameter. It's about a 31. By the way, I wanted to show you the jewelry. This control arm in the front and the suspension and the Fox shocks that the TRD Pro offers, it's next level stuff. Here in the back of the Maverick, you see a 2-inch receiver and a 4-pin connector. But this is where a bit of a disappointment comes, at least for me. When you get the Tremor off-road package on the Maverick, you cannot also combine it with a 4,000 pound tow rating, which is the maximum for the other Mavericks. You get a lesser rating of about 2,000 pounds. And yes, you can bring something simple, a small trailer with you, but 2,000 pounds won't cut it for a lot of jobs that I do personally. Here in the back of the Tacoma TRD Pro, once again, the same or similar 2-inch receiver. Up here, I have a 4-pin and a 7-pin trailer wiring connectors and a tow rating of 6,400 pounds approximately, which is quite impressive considering that this is also an off-road special version. But there's a few buts. The suspension is tuned for a softer ride on the Pro, for going faster off-road, so it does squat when you put a trailer behind it. And I have a separate video about towing with this truck on the TFL Now channel, so check out alltfl.com, one place for all of that. And also the Tacoma does not have an integrated trailer brake controller. You have to get it aftermarket. So yes, it tows a lot more, but there's a few caveats. So what's your verdict? Which pickup would you select? And as I promised to you, pricing. So I'm gonna tell you the price as they are configured. So let's start with the Maverick Tremor. It's a Lariat, which is the top trim available in the Maverick lineup. Of course, it has a Tremor off-road package, which is about $3,000. It also requires you to select the special four-wheel drive system with the rear clutch-based locker, which is another $2,200. It has the decal package, and of course, it has all the trimmings on the inside as far as special lettering. So the total price with all of that stuff and the appearance package is just over $38,000. It still does not have heated seats, by the way. Now here, this is the top dog Tacoma TRD Pro. It has basically everything. The only option it offers is a little bit additional cost for the paint job, which is about $425 for the octane solar octane color. And the price here is $51,000, just over that. So yes, there is a $13,000 difference between these two. So it's kind of up to you, I think. If you want a daily runabout, which will take you to some remote locations. I mean, it won't crawl over boulders, large ones, but I think the Maverick is a great choice. But if you want a little bit something more serious for off-roading with low range transfer case, better gearing, better clearances and protection, then you can go with the Tacoma TRD Pro or another Tacoma version like a TRD Off-Road. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And as always, check out tfltruck.com and of course alltfl.com for everything automotive in one place right there.